Alright, this is Keith for a Powerstroke swim lesson. So we're going to look at a combination of above water and underwater shots today.
Greg.
Okay, so you see when you're taking your recovery there, that's the out of water portion of the stroke. Your arms and shoulders look a little crunched up, like you're working a little too hard to keep that high elbow and get the hand in front of your head. So you can relax that recovery portion, and it's good to keep the high elbow, but allow it to come around the side of your body a little more. It doesn't have to sort of come over the top of your head like it's doing there. When you enter the water on the hand entry, typically 8 to 12 inches in front of your head is most people's comfort range. Some people try to land a little farther out, some people are a little closer to their head, but generally that's going to be your sort of optimal range of where your hand entry should be. Extension wise, it looks like you're getting a pretty good extension with both strokes. Your rotation is okay. What I'd like to see is on the arm that's reaching forward, the arm that's taking the stroke, really work on extending that shoulder forward. You reach with your arm and then that shoulder rolls under your body. Your shoulder that's finishing the stroke is doing a pretty good rotation out of the water. I want to make sure that that shoulder that's reaching forward is really streamlining you. Head position is good. Now the underwater catch is usually what I harp on. I wanted to address the out of water portion stuff first. The underwater catch, what you're doing is what I call a bit of an elbow drop. So when you're going through your stroke, your elbow leads the stroke back a bit, meaning that your elbow is not an anchor point. What you want to do is that when you take that stroke, your elbow becomes an anchor. It sort of pivots in the water. Your hand and forearm go vertical or parallel to the back of the pool, and you get what I call a high elbow catch. A lot of swim coaches call that a high elbow catch or an early vertical forearm. The idea being there that your hand and forearm anchor, they grab a hold of the water and then pull your body past that point. So your hand and forearm don't so much come past your body as your body goes past your hand and forearm. When we look at the underwater stuff, you'll get a better idea of what I'm talking about with regard to that. So here's an oncoming front shot. So you can see how that front shoulder doesn't really reach forward as much as I think it could. When you reach forward really well, that shoulder will be almost under your chin. So the shoulder going forward will be almost under your chin. Alright, can't see anything on this one. Alright, oncoming shot again. Now when you're taking the stroke, see the path that your hand takes? What line does your hand take through the water? See how it swoops in real tight under your body there, at about the midway point? That might be a little more than you need to do. Really just try and pull your hand straight back, and your body's rotation will take care of any sort of motion there. So now this is what you can see, the elbow. Like, watch the elbow, how it leads that stroke back. That's what I'm really looking at. So you want to do the best you can to get a high elbow catch on these. So if you look at a lane line and look at your elbow, the elbow really should almost stay in the same spot as the lane line where it enters. So your initial part of your catch is good, but then that elbow is coming back with the stroke. So your very first portion where your hand is going down, that's a good beginning catch. So this is actually catch-up drill. Okay, so catch-up drill just lets you focus a bit more on isolating components of the swim stroke. So you'll reach forward real well, and then really think about the catch phase of the stroke, that initial pull of the stroke. So again, your shoulder that's pulling back is doing a good job of rolling or streamlining. I just want to make sure your shoulder that's reaching forward, your arm that's reaching forward is doing the same thing. And here I think we had talked about that, like really reaching forward, and yep, that looks better. So every time you reach forward, it wouldn't be out of the question for your shoulder to sort of scrape your chin. And if you have a stubble, you wind up with a little bit of a stubble burn on your shoulder if you're swimming a lot. Catch is looking better here. I think at this point in the lesson we had talked about it a couple times. So you want to make sure your hand and your forearm really operate as one unit. You don't need to pivot your hand relative to your forearm, but you do pivot your hand and forearm relative to your upper arm. All right, this is one arm drill. One arm drill is really good, again, to isolate the components of the stroke, as well as to be a strength drill. We all have a weak side, and one arm drill helps you strengthen that weak side. Looks like you're doing a good job with that drill as well. That was a nice pull. So here you can see a little bit of what I'm talking about with the elbow slipping back or leading the stroke back. That was a pretty good catch there. See, that was pretty good. If you look back at the first two and then look at these two, you can see a difference. So now you're doing that was not as good as the last couple. That one was a little better. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. So you can see how that hand and forearm are pivoting down. All right, so a couple of screenshots here. Good extension. That shoulder could be reaching forward a little more though. And then don't need to pull under your body as much there. Again, shoulder could be going forward a bit more, arms straight. And this is when you're turning to breathe. And then another stroke. So there you go.